you a lot of maps, papers, and pamphlets. We just ask that you hold tightly to all of these items, as well as any personal belongings, and be sure to take everything with you when you leave. This includes any garbage. It can get a little breezy out there in our Coliseum, and anything blowing around can wind up in any of our animals' habitats. It would be very dangerous and even deadly to the animals that live there. So please put all of your trash in the proper receptacles. Next, we ask that you keep that center staircase and side ramp free and clear at all times. These do make up our one and only emergency exit route. So please, no sitting or standing in these areas for any length of time. Our show should last between 10 to 15 minutes in length. We ask that you try to remain seated out there in our Coliseum for the full duration of our show, as a lot of getting up and moving around can be distracting to those guests around you still watching our show, as well as for our performers down here on the stage. However, we do know it's quite hot out here today, so if you do need to exit at any point in time, make your way down those center stairs and exit back through those glass doors on my left-hand side only. Again, that exit is down the center stairs through those glass doors on my left-hand side only. If you choose to exit, we ask that you do so quickly, quietly, and completely. And please do not approach the wall in front of me at any point in time. And throughout your visit here with us today, please be sure to keep your mask on. Especially around our otter and primate habitats, as those animals are prone to COVID-19. In addition, ensure that you are continuing to maintain that 6-foot social distance between yourself and other parties. And of course, please respect the one-way pathway throughout the facility. So when exiting today, you're only going to exit through those glass doors on my left-hand side. Do not try to exit on the right. It does not mean that you have to exit through your day here with us. You can simply wrap back around to get to all of our other outdoor habitats. We just ask that you follow that one-way directional path. But all right, now we have all those rules and announcements out of the way. When I asked you guys how you were doing before, I think the heat had gotten to you. But I think you guys can make a little bit more noise. This is our last show. So what do you say? Are you ready for a show?
Yay!
Much better. Well, hello and welcome to our B&B Bank sponsored Sea Lion Coliseum. My name is Nicole and I'll be your host today. And joining us for our show in just a moment will be Java, our male California sea lion. He's 19 years old, weighing in at 450 pounds, and he'll be working with his good friend and trainer, Janine. Also joining us is Neela. Neela here's a rescued California sea lion. She's 7 years old and weighs in at approximately 110 pounds. And she's joined by her good friend and trainer, Colleen. But if you guys see anything you like today, anything at all, be sure to put those hands together. Let your stars hear it. They do appreciate it.
Clapping. Okay, clapping your hand.
Just like that.
If you like,
perfect.
if you like it, clap your hand.
Very impressive, Neela. As you saw right there, she was able to pull her entire body weight up onto her front flippers alone, sort of like how we would do a handstand. And that's because she has very strong and very powerful front flippers. Now in the back there, you've probably heard Java vocalizing. In fact, through your visit here at the aquarium, you've probably heard him vocalizing. That's because we're going through something known as sea lion breeding season, and Java is going through rut. Rut just means that male sea lions have a ton of hormones racing through their bodies, and they can only concentrate on one thing, and that, unfortunately, is not their training sessions with us, but more so their female counterparts. So Java might just be joining Janine for a little bit of his diet, and otherwise he might just be sleeping and barking back there.
This one.
But that's quite all right, as all of her sessions are voluntary. Now Neela is showing off some of her high energy dance moves. You saw before that front flipper stand, and now she's just showing off some more of those by rolling, moving those front flippers all around as well as circling. Now we like to keep our animals very physically stimulated, sort of like how you would go to the gym. We also enjoy to keep them very mentally stimulated, sort of like how you would do a crossword puzzle or math problems. Now we can do these mentally stimulating behaviors by training them to do something called an innovate behavior. That's when an animal comes up with a behavior all on its own, and then we can simply continue to have them create and innovate with new behaviors. All right, there Neela is demonstrating some of the types of fish that our sea lions eat. They eat 3 different types of fish. They eat a large fatty fish called herring, sort of like what eating a cheeseburger is like for us. A small lean fish called capelin, similar to what eating chicken would be like, as well as some squid, which is really high in water content. Now, sea lions get all of their water content from the fish that they eat. They don't get any of the water content from the water that they live in, as this is salt water. So again, they're going to get all of that water from the fish that they eat.
Clap your hand.
Now, in addition to having those powerful front flippers, Neela also has a rotatable hip bone. As you can see, she has got that ability to tuck her rear flippers up and underneath her body, making it very easy for her to follow her trainer back and forth around here on land. And she can go forwards and backwards as well. Now, her cousin, the True Seal, lacks those rotatable hip bones. You might have noticed our True Seals out in front of the aquarium. That's our very first habitat containing our gray and harbor seals. That's one of the biggest differences that you can tell between the two species. Now, they're similar to being cousins in the system of phenology if you were to look at them. But a sea lion's closest land relative would actually be a bear, and that's again based on their skeletal structure. Now, if you take a look inside Neela's mouth, you're going to notice she has a mouthful of sharp, pointy teeth. They're conical shaped. She's got about 36 of them in there, and they're brown in color. That's because sea lions do lack toothed enamel. So we have that enamel that keeps our teeth nice and white, similar to what our seals have. But lacking that enamel means that Neela actually has a healthy bacteria. That bacteria operates in the same way that tooth enamel would. So as she gets older, her teeth will get more and more brown with age. And again, that bacteria is going to help to prevent any sort of things that can form inside her mouth to keep her teeth nice and strong. Now, I mentioned before some of the mentally and physically stimulating behaviors we work on, but the most important ones we work on are things known as their husbandry or medical behaviors. You can see Colleen touching Neela's belly right now. She's able to look over both her dorsal side or her back, as well as her ventral or her belly. And you can see right there, Janine is about to administer a simple saline solution eye drop into both of Java's eyes. Now, this is similar to the same sort of solution you would put in your eyes if you wear contacts. It's just saline. And the idea is that if our sea lions ever develop an eye issue in the future, we could swap those drops out for a medicated drop, and that behavior is pretty much already trained. Now, pinnipeds, which are the fin-footed animals like seals, sea lions, and walruses, are quite prone to things such as cataracts in their older years. So it is very important for us to make sure that this eye drop behavior is quite strong. Weekly, they do see their veterinarian, which is far more frequently than what we would see our doctors. And of course, they also get a bunch of additional things that we'll work on with their vet care. So in addition to the eye drops, we can also use another substance which will indicate if an animal has an ulcer or something else forming on their eye. We also do brush their teeth every single day. Now, this toothbrushing behavior is just to stimulate the blood flow to their gums. It's not to remove any of that bacteria from their teeth. Great job, Neela. Nothing to be ashamed of over there. And of course, we'll also work a lot on blood draw behaviors because we want to make sure that we're taking the best possible care of our animals. So every year, our animals are able to get a voluntary blood draw where we'll go in and we'll voluntarily take a sample of their blood in addition to receiving voluntary vaccinations. But it does look like Neela and Colleen's session is wrapping up. So let's give them one. You're gonna head inside? Actually, they're going to head back inside and join our other stars in there now that Java is participating a little bit more. I'll tell you a little bit more about Neela's story. As I mentioned, she's 7 years old. She's a rescued California sea lion. She's originally from the southern coast of the United States in the Santa Barbara region of California. Now, she's stranded there in 2014 due to something called a UME, or unusual mortality event, which was occurring. What was happening is that the schooling fish that young sea lion pups were relying on were going further and further off of our shores and off of the continental shelf. And that's where our sea lions, where our sea lion pups will rely on their diets. Now, this meant that Neela needed a lot more food, and an agency was able to step in, get her back to a nice and healthy weight. But it was determined that she would not eat if another animal was present, meaning that she lacked essential survival skills. Now, out there in nature, sea lions gather in groups of hundreds to even thousands of individuals. So that would be very dangerous for Neela. We were contacted by the U.S. government to provide Neela with a forever home, and we were very excited to have her join us. For more information about Neela and her incredible journey here to us at the Long Island Aquarium, feel free to stop by after our show and ask me. But it does look like our stars are set back there, so we can give them a big old round of applause. Welcome them back to the show. So those rookeries that sea lions are found in are very noisy places. As you can tell, the bull or the male sea lions are constantly making that vocalization, especially during that breeding season, to herd or gather their females into specific areas. Now, Java has two different types of vocals. He's got that regular bark that you're hearing him utilize right now, as well as a very loud herding vocal. So you might hear him use that herding vocal from time to time as well. Mila, on the other hand, has a little bit more of a daintier voice. And she'll use that voice if she were on a very crowded beach to find her pup or to find her mom, as each sea lion has its own unique vocalization. But I think today, Colleen and Mila are going to help me answer a popular question we get, which is how do we train all the behaviors you've been seeing throughout the show? Now, the very first behavior which Mila learned is something known as targeting. This just means she learned to place and then hold her nose to her trainer's fist. Now, once she was comfortable with this behavior, we're able to transfer it to other objects, such as that red and white buoy on a stick, which is called a target pole, or even something like that very colored ball suspended high above our water. Now, once our animals are comfortable targeting these objects, we can train them to follow them around. And from there, we can shape really cool behaviors, such as jumping. Now, that ball started off at the surface of our water, and we've been able to raise it higher and higher ever since. But I don't know, that ball does look pretty high for Neela. I think she could use one more big old round of applause from her fans to give her a little bit of encouragement. All right, Neela, can you touch that ball? Great job, Neela, and what a splash. As you saw, your sea lion star was able to pull her entire body up and out of that water to touch her nose to the ball. For doing such a great job with this behavior, as well as for all the others throughout our show, you'll notice that Neela's trainer, Colleen, has rewarded her with lots and lots of fish. Now, this is known as positive reinforcement, and that's how we train all of our animals here at the Long Island Aquarium. Now, sea lions like Neela have been known to jump out about 10 to 12 feet into the air, and they can do this to catch their fast-moving prey or to avoid their predators out there in nature. But it does look like their session is now drawing to a close. You guys have been a great audience. Let's hear it one more time here for our stars. And now on behalf of myself, your Sea Lion superstars, Java and Neela, their trainers, Colleen, Janine, and our sponsor, the B&B Bank, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day here at the Long Island Aquarium. Goodbye, everyone. For those of you interested in sticking around for some more sea lion action, you're welcome to hang out up there in our Coliseum. We will be working with both